Hey guys, welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Leading off the show today is Dennis Zen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of Collider Movie Talk. Thankfully, it's Friday, it's here, and breaking news, Kylo Ren has been discovered to be Jason Todd.
Also here, David Griffin.
Can we talk about some more crazy rumors that Dennis has? Crazy theories.
Not my
here. rumors.
Not my rumors.
It's Crazy Rumor Friday here.
Yeah.
Also here, Josh Macuga.
Guys, did you guys know that in Star Wars they watch Airborne? There's a section of the movie when they watch the rollerblading classic Airborne.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Air Bud.
No, Air Bud as well.
Both classics.
Yes.
Recent reports have claimed that Doug Liman, Edge of Tomorrow, is being talked about in regards to taking over the Gambit movie after Rupert Wyatt departed last month. Now, it looks like two other names are also in contention. Heroic Hollywood is reporting that both Joe Cornish, Attack the Block, and Shane Black, Iron Man 3, are also in the mix for directing the Channing Tatum-led X-Men spin-off film. Dennis, what do you think of these candidates directing Gambit?
Of these two names, I'd probably go with Shane Black just because I'm more familiar with his work. I mean, actually, neither director has done a lot of stuff. I mean, Joe Cornish did Attack the Block in 2011, and I know he's working on a few projects. He's helped with some writing, especially with Ant-Man, but he hasn't released a movie since 2011. Shane Black had Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. He did Iron Man 3. But he's also still working on some other projects. So neither one of these guys are really that experienced. But out of these two, I'd go with Shane. I still like the Doug Liman rumor. I think he would be a good fit. You know, Edge of Tomorrow, everyone loves that movie, even though it didn't do very well. He did Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the original Bourne Identity. He has a long track record. So that's kind of where my head is still at. David?
I think I definitely go with Shane Black. I just like how he handled Iron Man 3. He made it so personal. I mean, you really got to know Robert Downey Jr.'s character. You know, it's Tony Stark. It's just him being an engineer again, you know, working on the suit, you know, his relationship with the kid in the movie. I just liked all that things. I think if you're going to do an origin story or a first film, I think Shane Black is a guy you want bringing that, you know, that humanity. We got to care about Gambit. We got to care about him. I think he's the guy to do it.
Josh?
I think, you know, there's so much pressure that is on these directors for these X-Men standalones because of Wolverine and kind of how maybe poorly done the first one was. Mm-hmm. I necessarily didn't hate it, but I think a lot of people had a lot of problems with it. Shane Black had a great run. Iron Man 3, I think, was my least liked of the franchise, but probably it was more of a standalone than it was part of the Iron Man franchise. However, something about Attack the Block and bringing that story, like a small story, almost like a Simon Pegg kind of movie. It had that feeling to it. I'd love to see what this guy could do with Gambit.
Yeah, but I mean, the rumors are that the budget is pretty big on this, a lot larger than I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. And you have, you know, with Joe Cornish, Attack the Block was a nice small project. Yeah. Shane Black has done a medium-sized project in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and Iron Man 3 was obviously a huge thing, so we know he can tackle those big budget projects.
Can I just push back against that a little bit? I'm wondering, like, do we have to start big with Gambit? I mean, I know it's part of a huge cinematic universe.
I didn't think so, but
yeah, it's like I wish
it
almost start small, like you're suggesting, with one of these directors, whether it's Shane Black or not, start small and kind of just get the story right without worrying about the whole big universe.
The nice thing they have with Gambit, though, is he's never really been in any of the X-Men movies besides the Taylor Kitsch thing.
The crappy. It wasn't Taylor Kitsch's fault. It was just a crappy movie.
It was it wasn't that good. So they're kind of starting with a blank slate, and with that, you know, somebody like a Joe Cornish who may have ideas outside of this. Shane Black, obviously, I'm sure has amazing ideas. He's a guy from Pittsburgh. I'm sure he's perfect. But I think you give this guy a little bit of chance. Maybe and with a no-name director, maybe it has a little more panache, something that you're like, let's see what this guy can do.
Yeah, once they decided to cast Channing Tatum as Gambit, then we knew it wasn't going to be a small project, and it wasn't going to be even a medium-sized one. I mean, personally, I'm a big fan of Channing Tatum, even his comedy, obviously, with 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, and even his dramatic roles like Foxcatcher, a movie I saw him in a long time ago, Guide to Recognizing Your Saints. However, as a fan of his, I still don't think he's right for Gambit.
Really? Who else would you see in that role?
That one actor from Game of Thrones. He's been in Wild and Age of Adeline. I think his name is Michelle Musman.
Who'd he play in?
He plays Danny Targaryen's boyfriend. He's got that beard going on. He's got the long hair. He's got that roguish nature to him that I don't think Channing Tatum really gives off.
He was in Treme as well. He was great in that.
Yeah.
Well, also the British guy has been playing a lot of the romantic roles, like in Far From the Madding Crowd. Matthias, I think is his name. I believe we want to say he's Belgium. He's got the size, like 6'3", 6'4", big guy. He's got the look. He's a good-looking guy, and I think he's got the command. I don't know. I think Channing's always got. I like when he's goofy. I love Channing when he's goofy. 21 Jump Street, that new Hail Caesar trailer, the new Coen Brothers film. Yep. Looks like he's going to be great in that. He can do drama, but I think I like him when he's just being fun.
Do you think we're like a little oversaturated with Channing Tatum?
No, I don't think so. I just don't think he's a right fit for this role. I could be wrong. The movie could be great and he could be fantastic in it. I just don't. When I think of Gambit, I think of a skinnier, lankier, kind of like roguish type of character, and that's not the vibe that Tatum gives off.
Definitely not. He's more of the cocky, walk in the room, everybody loves him.
Meathead, charming, affable, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So I thought that's why he was good with the Foxcatcher.
Yeah.
Like he fit that role.
Yeah.
All right, now we're on to buy and sell. Ashley, what do we got?
On the red carpet for Rock the Casbah, Entertainment Tonight asked Bruce Willis about the idea of the Die Hard prequel with Len Wiseman directing it. In response, Willis said, "It's a very good idea, a really tricky idea, and I'm very happy about it. It's a really cool idea because it's the origin story. It's going to happen at the beginning of this. We're going to bounce back and forth." Josh, buy or sell Bruce Willis's statement about a Die Hard prequel?
Listen. Die Hard not only is my favorite action movie and my favorite Christmas movie, it might be one of my favorite movies, if not my favorite movies of all time. I love Die Hard. Now, the last two Die Hards have been they've been grease fires. We know this. If you're going to go and do the prequel with Bruce Willis, there's going to have some very creative makeup and hairstylings, obviously. But I want to give Die Hard that one more chance. It's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But just fool me one more time. Give me that one more chance for a Die Hard thing. I'm buying this. I want to see more Die Hard. And what I know, there's graphic novels out for that are origin story-esque. But I want to see what they can do with the John McClane origin story. He's my action hero. He's that dude. He's the everyman. He saved Nakatomi Plaza. He saved an airport, basically the same movie again. And then he and Samuel L. Jackson were basically buddy cops without Samuel L. Jackson being a buddy cop.
Oh man, I'm selling this hard. I just don't get it. Like, the original Die Hard is his origin story. So the whole point is he's supposed to be an ordinary cop that gets thrown in this crazy situation and how he responds. So anything that happens before that can't be that spectacular, because that's the point of the original Die Hard. And as you're saying, a huge fan, why would you want to see that?
I just can't get enough John McClane.
But you're right, though. The last two have been pretty disappointing. Live Free or Die Hard and
Die Harder. It's a Die Hard film.
Yeah, weren't they both PG-13 as well?
Yeah, that's the brutal part too.
And I felt like with the statement, Bruce Willis, he probably wants another
Justin
paycheck.
Long, Bale,
he probably
Jai
wants
Courtney.
another paycheck. He was phoning it. I mean, Bruce Willis can deliver amazing performances. The last two were not. He was Bruce Willis in those. He wasn't John McClane.
But do you think because he wasn't John McClane in these two that he's going to bring it for the prequel because he's heard so much, or he just doesn't care?
I don't think he cares. I think, and then also the whole back and forth thing. It's like, okay, so now he's gonna be in it. I highly doubt they're gonna put prosthetics on him. They'll probably hire another actor to play him as a younger one, and somehow they're gonna jump from the past to the present, back to the past. I don't know, David.
That sounds a little busy.
So I'm buying this idea.
Okay.
What?
Big time.
What?
I'm buying. You're outnumbered, Dennis. You're outnumbered this one. I'm buying this one because I want to see. I don't think they necessarily have to do Bruce Willis. I think they can, like you said, go backwards and forwards. Have Bruce Willis be his older self and do somebody else to play a younger version of him. I know that's risky, because when you think Die Hard,
can I throw my hat into the ring for the prequel?
Okay. So you want to play John McClane?
Yeah, hire him. And I think that would be a great story. Also, they need to create another iconic villain. That's what the series is known for.
Yes.
Alan Rickman in the first one of the greatest villains of all time in any role. And also in the third one, even Jeremy Irons was excellent in the third one.
Clay.
I think
Bill
like
Clay.
John and Christian on a previous show, they were talking about bringing back, maybe a good idea about bringing back Sam Jackson, bring his character back.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because the third one was great.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was the last true Die.
He was
Die
Zeus.
Hard.
Wasn't his name Zeus?
Yeah, Zeus.
Yeah.
You keep calling me Hey Zeus.
All right, what's next?
Sony has released a new Pride and Prejudice and Zombies trailer. The movie is being directed by Burr Steers, Igby Goes Down, and is based on Seth Grahame-Smith's parody novel of the same name. The film is about the Bennett sisters, played by Lily James, Ellie Bamber, Millie Brady, Bella Heathcote, and Suki Waterhouse, as they deal with 19th century England society pressures of being women while trying to save their town from invading zombies. The movie also stars Matt Smith, Jack Houston, Douglas Booth, Sam Riley, Lena Headey, and Charles Dance. David, buy or sell this new trailer for Pride and Prejudice and Zombies?
Of course I buy it. It's Jane Austen. I'm just obsessed with Jane Austen.
He loves the period pieces.
I love period pieces. You give me costumes. I mean, preferably I like Keira Knightley in a role. I'm there. I'm gonna go see it. No, this looks fantastic. And plus, we get Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. We get Tywin Lannister. We get Cersei Lannister in this movie. Also, Lily James, I believe, is a rising star. I thought she was fantastic in Cinderella. I loved her since, I'm sure she's done work before, but Downton Abbey, I thought she was fantastic in that as well. It's very charming. Now we get to see her kick butt. This is a movie we get to see ladies just be badasses. They're going to be killing zombies. Like, they're not waiting for Mr. Darcy anymore. They're not waiting for the man anymore. They're going to be warriors. They're going to be duking it out. I'm excited to see this.
Josh,
is Mr. Darcy going to be a zombie?
I don't think so.
Listen, I'm gonna buy this simply for the franchise possibilities of like Romeo and Juliet and zombies, like any period piece. August Wilson fences and zombies. It just looks like hot girls and pouty dudes and zombies. That's what this movie is. It's basically the pitch for Quantico. It's like, hot FBI agents, will you watch? I guess I'm going to buy it. It looks fun. There's nothing really, it doesn't seem really that there's much to this other than pretty sweet action and hot girls doing it. Not doing the action. Not like
Wait, what time were you watching, man?
Yeah.
I came out wrong. I apologize. Well, bad.
Different website.
Yes. But yeah, I'll buy it. What the heck? I hope Mr. Darcy just gets crushed. Like he turns into a zombie and gets killed as the final.
I'm gonna buy it as well. We talked about it when Christian and Roka were on here. I think last week or 2 weeks ago. They released like a short version of it. I didn't really care for that because I had seen the longer version. It's different than this one at Comic-Con, and this one is a lot better. I do think they went a little too serious with it. They should play up kind of the hokey cheesiness of it, and there's some humor in it. And you're right though, seeing Charles Dance and Lena Headey in it, I think is cool, especially because Charles Dance in this one, in Game of Thrones, he plays a character that can't see his daughter for more than being a woman. In this one, he's like, no, I train my daughters to fight for battle, not to do all this other crap.
They're playing on the whole Victorian mindset that women they must be able to read and write, like play the piano and all that kind of stuff. But this is like, no, these women have to be able to fight. They have to be able to kill some zombies.
Yeah, there's a cool POV shot in it. Did you remember that where he breaks the wine glass?
No, it's cool. You see him like,
and then he kills the zombie, and then you see it's like from the point of view from the zombie, and then just cuts his throat.
And the zombies kind of look badass in this.
They do.
They look a little more aggressive than a Walking Dead zombie per se, maybe a World War Z type of zombie.
Ashley, or would you be interested in seeing this movie?
I just watched the trailer. The feel of, I like the costumes and stuff, the timing, the period pieces, not really my cup of tea, but it did look a little bit scarier than I was expecting, which I do like that. The element of the creepy factor of it. I'd give it a shot. Looks fun. Why not? Some girls being badass. Yeah,
I love Scream Queens. This
almost
looks Scream
Queens
in 18th
Scream
century
Queen-esque, totally.
Yeah. Also, I think this is brilliant marketing, and not to stereotype because I love Jane Austen, so I'm a guy. I'm going to see it, but I think this can pull guys and girls, especially couples, to be like, well, date night. There's zombies. But there's also like romance, and it's one of those perfect kind of films.
And it's coming out on a good time for this movie, which is February, which there's not going to be a lot of stuff to compete against it, right?
Yeah.
So,
very true.
All right, guys. So now on to our Friday segment, box office predictions presented by our friends at AMC Theaters. This is where we rank or we predict which movies are going to come out top this box office weekend. So, David, let's get started with you. Which movies are going to be on the top 5?
I'm going with Goosebumps at number 1.
Ooh.
I think it's going to stay strong. I think the families of word of mouth. Halloween's approaching. I think people are going to still go see it. I'm going to go Steve Jobs number 2 with that one. I'm going to go Last Witch Hunter 3. I'm going to go Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension at 4. And then I'm going with The Martian at 5.
All right, Josh?
Okay, I'm a little different here. I'm going to go number 1, Paranormal Activity, Ghost Dimension at 1. because we're creeping towards Halloween. This is like horror movie. Supposedly this one redeems some of the last couple. Supposedly, I don't know. The trailer gave a lot away. I'm not a horror movie guy, but it seems like people are going to come out in droves for this one. Last Witch Hunter, the power of Vin Diesel takes him to number 2. Goosebumps at 3. I think you're right. It's going to stay strong in that top 5. 4, Steve Jobs, just word of mouth, and Michael Fassbender. And 5 at Martians. But I do have to give an honorable mention to Gem and the Holograms because my initials spell JEM.
Oh. Oh man, this is for some weeks we have ones that are similar. This week we're all different.
Okay.
I got number 1, The Last Witch Hunter.
Okay.
I think a lot of that furious buzz, Fast and Furious buzz, is going to carry over for Vin Diesel.
Okay.
Goosebumps, yeah, kids, families, they're going to come back for it. I think The Martian's going to hold strong at number 3. It's just such good word of mouth. It's a good movie. It's a feel-good movie. People are going to come back to see it. Steve Jobs, I think I would have rated this one higher, but it's actually going to be in 1,000 less theaters than something like a Goosebumps. So I'm actually really looking forward to it. And then number 5, I have Paranormal Activity. It's actually in 2,000 less theaters than all the other ones. So also, I think
should have known that.
I also think there's
list.
fatigue though. There's fatigue with that franchise.
Paranormal
I watched
fatigue.
the first one. I liked it. I didn't really care to see a second one. And then what is this one? The 6th one, 7th one, 8th one?
I think they're at 10.
Okay.
I don't know. It's something around 5th or
Okay.
6th. They stopped naming them with numbers, so I got confused.
Yeah, and I don't see Gem and the Holograms hitting that top 5. One notable absence, though, is Steven Spielberg's Bridge of Spies. That just came out last week. Didn't do all that well, and none of us have it on our top 5
Not
list.
much word of mouth with that movie.
And it's
at
going to be
all.
up for. I mean, Tom Hanks is probably going to be up for Best Actor. I'm assuming. It's going to be up for some awards.
Yeah, but I mean, there's, we thought it would do a lot better, right?
I think this is also a weird time to release Steve Jobs. I would almost release this post-Halloween, like mid-November. I think this is a weird time to release Steve Jobs. I would have waited a little bit on that, simply because you are competing a lot with, like, this is a family time to go see movies. This is everybody's going to go out and see horror kind of movies, Paranormal Activity, Last Witch Hunter, this kind of stuff, action. Steve Jobs is a narrative drama. I think you should wait till November on that one. But that doesn't do anything other than keep it at number 4 for me.
Yeah, maybe if it does pretty well this weekend, they might expand it and even give it even more theaters. We'll see. We'll see. All right, guys, before we get into mailbag, I want to remind you we're going to take live Twitter questions at the end of the show. Make sure you tweet us at Collider Video. Ashley's going to pick some out, and we'll do that after mailbag. So now we're doing mailbag. Remember, you can send in your questions. Send it into collidervideo@gmail.com, and we'll pick out some for the daily movie talk show or the weekend mailbags. Ashley, what's the first one?
Ricky Castillo writes, "Hello, Collider. My question comes from a reaction video that I saw featuring John Boyega watching the new Force Awakens trailer for the first time. If you have not watched it, I highly recommend it. Boyega seems as if this is the first time he has seen any of the film, just like the rest of us. How much involvement/knowledge of the film do actors actually have? Do they simply do their scene and go home? Do they even get to see the scene that they filmed in its finished state, or even see the film before others? Thanks, and bring on the filthy."
Most actors actually don't see the film before us, because most of them just, unless they're someone like a Tom Cruise, who's like a big star, he also produces his own film, so he's heavily involved. So Mission Impossible, I'm sure he's watching cuts all the time.
Daly's Day.
But for these actors, they go in and they head out. I mean, if you guys watch their reaction videos, John Boyega looks like he's either at his place or maybe his friend's place. Daisy Ridley's at a bed and breakfast, sitting in bed watching on her iPhone. One of the interesting things is when you go to a red carpet and you ask the actors that are in the movies, "Oh, what do you think of the movie?" Just assuming they've seen it, because sometimes I've already seen the movie.
Right.
They haven't, because they do it and then they leave. So I don't think, unless they are a bigger name or a bigger producer, they have anything to do with seeing any of that stuff. Josh?
I think too, especially with a film like Star Wars, like you said, it always depends on the actor. But I think with a film like Star Wars is they're keeping everything so buttoned up and so close to the vest that to show them anything risks them releasing it. Right? Or like somehow getting out. Like if Boyega showed a friend, he's like, "Oh, check this out. This is from Star Wars." And then the friend steals his phone when he goes to the bathroom, and then he tweets it out. And like, I think that with something like that, no. But in a lot of films, actors aren't going to see the dailies. They might see rough cuts if they email the director, or if they're the star or whatever. They might see some rough cuts, but especially not. They're not going to see the special effects from the lightsaber until the trailer. They're not going to see a lot of the special effects because, they want the actors to be just as surprised as we all are. I would think.
David?
Yeah, that's what I would. I mean, I know we also hear stories about actors who don't like watching themselves on screen anyway, you know. But I mean, if I was Daisy Ridley, if I was John Boyega, I'd want to be that amped. I think Boyega just got back from the Lakers game, the preseason game, so he's all kind of like dressed up a little bit. So he's all like, yep. Well, I think it's all excited. Like I would want that reaction too. I'd want to wait to see everything finish, not a pole with a green pole while I'm fighting. I want to see the actual real lightsaber.
Insert visual effects now.
Yeah, it's like
we've
this
all
will look
seen
better.
those screeners. They're the worst.
Yeah, and I don't think someone like J.J. Abrams is like emailing John Boyega or Daisy Ridley, hey, we got a new cut of the film. Check this out.
Right.
Here's a link. You know, they go do their things. Actors are much like we talked about this on another episode about like cinematographers. The reason why actors and cinematographers can do so many movies is they do one and they leave and they go to the next one. Directors stay with it from pre-production, production, and post-production. So they have to live with it. And these guys just move on. They're probably filming something else. Whether I don't know what other projects they got going on, but I'm sure especially after this launches in December, they're going to have plenty of offers as well.
Yeah.
So, all right, what's next?
Marcus Liljenberg writes, Hi Collider crew, I'm a big fan from Sweden. I have watched Movie Talk for a long time and you are great. My question is regarding the rumors about B versus S that Movie Pilot is talking about, that Ben Affleck is not Batman, not the Bruce Wayne Batman anyway. Instead, they say that he will be playing Slade Wilson as Batman and Christian Bale will be coming back in B versus S as Bruce Wayne. Your thoughts on this? Thanks and keep up the good work.
Well, normally, we talk about this is one of those crazy theories that won't go away, much like that Kylo Ren, Luke Skywalker theory. Like people just kept tweeting us and sending us emails and all this stuff, asking us this, so we decided to address it. This is one of those crazy theories that always comes up that kind of, I think, conspiracy theorists love to get their hands on because they think that all these crazy stuff is going to go on. So basically, on Movie Pilot, they wrote this big, long article about a theory of how...
I think you mean The Onion.
No. Yeah.
Journalism.
Yes. Yeah. that basically they had heard that some Brazilian journalist... I don't know why a Brazilian journalist would have the scoop and lowdown on this big movie. Not a Hollywood insider, but a Brazilian journalist heard that Ben Affleck was not playing Bruce Wayne, that he was going to be in the movie as Batman, but not the Bruce Wayne Batman. I mean, it just runs down this whole list of stuff saying that this is actually tied to the Chris Nolan universe and how, Christian Bale is going to like show up at the end of the movie and that...
He stole my suit.
Yeah. And it plays into the whole Jason Todd being Joker thing and that for some reason, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Jared Leto are actually playing the same character. It's one of those crazy things. No, I personally do not believe this crazy theory. What about you guys?
Go ahead.
It's just insane. They are starting to build their universe. They are trying to build from Batman v Superman going into the Justice League. We have Wonder Woman movies, Flash movies, all this stuff. No, they are not going to throw a wrench in that. Even when we were speculating who the next Spider-Man was going to be for Marvel, I think there are some people, including myself, was like, maybe they'll do Miles Morales. I didn't think that would ever happen. I thought that was a dream. I think maybe in the future, maybe they might, but they're always going to start with Peter Parker. They're going to go back to the basics before they start going all crazy. Maybe in the future they'll do something like that, but not for their introduction into this new universe that Warner Brothers is trying to build.
And I think so too, there aren't many people out there, one, that even know who Slade Wilson is.
Right.
That Batman's always Bruce Wayne. You know, if you were to ask my mom or whatever, she'd be like, it's Bruce Wayne. Nobody knows it. So you got to keep, like you said, you got to keep that franchise within Bruce Wayne. These rumors, I mean, I feel like we should start a website. Just name it something movie related and just start these rumors and get somebody famous to tweet it. And then all of a sudden we're famous for starting these absurd rumors. It's not going to be Slade Wilson. If Christian Bale had even shown up on set, the internet would have exploded. He just ran into Ben Affleck at the grocery store one time. It was on the cover of Yahoo. And he was like, good luck with the character, man. Find a place to pee. That was like his only advice on playing Batman.
Well, I don't even think you need to get someone famous to tweet. You just have to make the crazy rumor. Someone will pick it up, and then it'll start going around like it's a real thing. Yeah, the whole Christian Bale thing is the most ludicrous part of it. He's going to come back at the end of the movie. You think Ben Affleck doesn't have a problem with that? Ben Affleck has been cast as Batman, but he's okay with Christian Bale coming in and basically stealing the thunder of him being Batman?
Yeah, it's like you raised your new wife's kid forever, and then the biological father comes in on high school graduation day. He's like, "Good luck, good job." Like, I just come on, man.
I mean, that trailer alone should be indication enough that they are moving on from Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan did a great job, you know, with what he did for those 3 films, but they have moved on. The look of it is Zack Snyder. I don't look at that movie like, oh, that's a Christopher Nolan-like look. I'm like, no, that looks more like Zack Snyder with the cape moving slowly behind him. That's 300. You know, I see more Zack Snyder than I see Christopher Nolan.
Okay. All right. Enough of that. What's the next one?
Mike Staley writes, Dear Collider crew, we all know the success of a sequel is impacted by the positive or negative reaction to the film that preceded it. Given the negative reaction to the prequels, are you surprised that pre-sale tickets are as high as they are? And are they proof that the hatred for the prequels has in no way diminished the world's love for Star Wars? Thanks and keep bringing the fun.
Well, this one is something I actually have done a 180 on. Originally, when I talked about Star Wars, and it was especially in comparison with Age of Ultron coming out, I was like, okay, well, I think Age of Ultron is going to do better because the first Avengers was such a hit. People are going to look forward to it. Star Wars is coming off their prequels. It's not going to do as well. Now I'm thinking, actually, as weird as this sounds, the prequels being bad actually helps the fact that this next Star Wars is so highly anticipated. Obviously, if there were just no prequels at all, it would be even more highly anticipated. But because they were bad, I think people are like, look, especially people like me who love the trilogy, the original trilogy, we didn't get satisfied. Like, they did the prequels, and we were like, no, that's not the Star Wars we grew up with. And so now, because they were terrible, it actually makes it, especially since they're following kind of the old style and the old feeling that we're getting, I think that it's actually going to help it in a weird, strange way. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of posed this question to friends, and I said, you know, if the prequels had been amazing, would we still be so excited for 7? And I think it's what it is it's redemption, right? We're just looking for redemption. Yeah, maybe the prequels had turned off a lot of people, but I think there's been a generation basically since the last ones came out.
They're now 16 years older.
Yes, right? And we're ready. Redemption, it's like Ron Burgundy. Today you spell redemption, R-O-N. It's going to be... This movie has so much riding on it. There's so much redemption for the launching of the entire new franchise with the spinoffs and everything. That's what I think people are tuning in for. They're tuning in for redemption, and they're turning in for how many rumors can we start about what we saw in The Force Awakens.
David?
It's interesting. I got to steal a little bit. John Campia's out there. I got to steal a little bit what he was talking about earlier about how what if the prequels never existed? And they never made them. We had a over 30-year gap with no Star Wars.
Yeah.
Would the hunger be even
greater?
It would be. Greater. But also, going back to what you were saying, Josh, about the prequels, I think it did usher in a new group of fans because a lot of young kids loved the Clone Wars and they loved the pod race and they loved little Anakin and they were rooting for him, and now they are.
They love little Anakin? Damn.
The little kids did, and they're 16 years later now. Yeah. Let's say they're in their early 20s, 24, whatever, they're 8 years old, 24. Now they're pumped to go see this next installment of Star Wars. So I think it's still going to be huge because we have this new fan base from the Clone Wars, and also.
See, I think if the prequels had been good, one, we would have seen movies before now, right?
For sure.
We would have seen some sort of either extension, either this kind of trilogy or before, and it wouldn't have been so long in between. And also, I think if they had been to what I was looking for, then I would have been more satisfied. And then so this episode 7 wouldn't be so like, okay, this reminds me of what that feeling I had when I had just gotten it.
It was a heavyweight champion, beaten up and knocked out, right? And now he's getting back up Rocky Balboa style, and he's going to fight again. And that's what we're going to see.
Because we're such hardcore fans. Matt, how many times did you see Phantom Menace in the theater?
Once.
6 times?
I saw it 4.
I saw it once.
I saw it 4 times.
I kept falling asleep because I kept...
Hey, see? I mean, you see it. Yeah, you see it.
I saw it 6 times, mostly because the first 3 times I saw it so late at night, I fell asleep, so I had to keep going back and watching it. But I love the Phantom Menace. I still don't hate the Phantom Menace.
Oh,
Clone
man.
Wars, yeah.
I think you've been blinded, my friend.
Blinded.
Listen, I'm not gonna introduce them to my parents, but I might go out with them on a movie date. You know?
All right. All right, now let's move on to live Twitter questions. You can tweet us at Collider Video on Twitter. Ashley, what have you picked out for us?
TGN Studios writes, Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire, who's the better Spider-Man?
For me, Andrew Garfield.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I like Tobey Maguire. I think he did a fine job in Spider-Man, but I think it was more the throwback to the old school Spider-Man, and I felt Andrew Garfield was more a modern day one. I felt the way about those movies. I liked them, but they were the old school Spider-Man. I kind of liked the more modern one. Obviously, the second one wasn't that great, but that really wasn't Andrew Garfield's problem.
I thought Andrew Garfield was too cocky to be Spider-Man. I think he's too good looking, had too nice a hair. I love Sans Spider-Man 3. If we're just looking at Spider-Man 1 and 2, Tobey Maguire was the perfect Spider-Man, I think. As much as he stonewalled me in the interview for Pawn Sacrifice, he was good. I think I would always vote Tobey Maguire over Andrew Garfield.
Tiebreaker, David?
Going with Toby. I just
Burn, Dennis.
I'm getting burned left and
getting
right.
up on Dennis this episode. No, I like Toby. I think he was more the classical nerd, look, just goofy. And I think Andrew's he's a great actor.
Sure.
He's just too good looking.
Yeah.
I'm just like, really, you have girl trouble? You?
Are you guys calling Tobey Maguire ugly?
No.
Because in what world is Tobey Maguire ugly?
But Garfield's just like, he's
I
like
mean, I
hunched
think
over
on
like,
the same level.
Look at Andrew Garfield could walk into a bar in Silver Lake and girls would throw themselves at him. Tobey Maguire walks in like,
I'm
where's
sure
my book?
that girls are...
Where's my book?
I'm with
We're
you,
cutting
Dennis.
this
I'm
clip
with
out.
you.
Send it to Toby.
Yeah, again.
from
Here's John.
Here
Before
goes.
you ask the next question, I'm sorry, I got to jump in and share this one thing. Somebody in the we have our new Twitter logo there.
Oh, there we go.
And we were naming them Cocky the Twitter bird or Chunky the Collider Twitter bird. Somebody said in the live chat board, I had to share this because I almost died. Said, and they're making a hashtag out of it, and now it's trending. Send Chunky the Collider Twitter bird back to Marvel. I just had to share that.
All right, what's next?
Marcus Z writes, why are director salaries not as much of a big deal as actor salaries?
Because most of the audience, general audience, not us, but they don't know who the directors are to movies. You know, you do get a Spielberg, Scorsese, Chris Nolan, those big names, but in general, most people don't know. Like, we're talking about like Joe Cornish and Shane Black, even Doug Liman.
Yeah.
Most of the audience don't know who they are. And so part of that money is for the publicity's sake. That's why like there's so many celebrities that do those voiceovers for animation. It's not because they're technically the best voice actors for that role. They just want to use their name,
put
in press junkets, red carpets, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It's for the publicity.
And two, directors usually don't see a lot of salary up front. They see a lot of back end because they put so much on the line to direct these films. I mean, obviously, sometimes that doesn't happen, but directors also work way harder than actors do on a movie. Like we were talking about earlier, is like the actors show up, say their lines, they go sit in a chair for the most part unless they're producing. I mean, they obviously study their lines and they get in character, but directors are there with the crew. They're there way past. They're looking at dailies. If you talk to any director, the worst part about making the movie is actually making the movie because there's no sleep. They're like NFL coaches. They never see their families. They're 18, 20-hour days making a movie, and then it bombs. I'm surprised there's not more guys just looking at the camera like, I'm going to kill everybody in this room. It's a hard job.
David?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great analogy. I think sports is perfect. The coaches don't make, the best basketball player is not going to make as much as the best coach. Like Kobe Bryant is going to make more than Phil Jackson, even though Phil Jackson makes a lot of money.
Sure.
Or did. Yeah, it's just I think the directors are just behind the scenes. Where Josh Whedon said that he got paid more for one of his earlier films than he did the first Avengers.
No, it was Dr. Horrible. He
Dr.
got
Horrible.
paid more for his web series, Dr. Horrible, than he did the first Avengers. However, the second Avengers, he got paid.
Yeah, he got paid. He got paid. Yeah.
He said that was the first time he had gotten like real like Hollywood money.
Hollywood.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Alexander Burton writes, what is the best sequel that improves upon the original?
Terminator 2. That's Aliens. I mean, that's debatable.
Yeah.
But
I mean, everybody knows, if you know me, Bad Boys 2, without a doubt. I mean, that's 100% the greatest sequel ever made, but that's just my opinion.
David?
My two, even though like Alien and Aliens very close, I actually prefer Godfather 2 over the original Godfather. Just because I love De Niro and Pacino going back and forth.
Yeah.
I love those scenes. And also Born Supremacy. Born Supremacy over Born Identity. I think that trilogy gets better with each one. I loved Born Ultimatum, the third one.
I like all three. Yeah,
They're all good. They're
third
all
one's
good.
my favorite.
Yeah.
I actually like the first one more than the second one, but that's just me. All right, what's next?
Sean Wren writes, what's more important to studios, the U.S. box office or worldwide box office?
Worldwide.
Worldwide.
Yeah,
I mean,
worldwide,
yeah, they just care about money. They don't care where it comes from. That's why you get a lot of stuff that's you may think is a huge failure here in the U.S. And that does very well overseas. So
I mean, look at some Avengers. They had a Chinese alternate part in the movie with Chinese actors to sell more in China. Transformers, same way.
I didn't see this Avengers cut. Was there like a Chinese Iron Man in a Chinese store?
No. There was just another character that they threw in there that was like another superhero that was Chinese.
They
and
replaced all the main characters.
Yeah, they're all Chinese guys now. But the international market, that's why it's so hard to sell a story movie that maybe only appeals to America now, is because we can't sell it international, so we're not going to make our money back. That's that. The international market dominates everything.
Remember, when we were watching Pacific Rim, we were so intently looking at especially the Chinese and Japanese box office just to see what was going to happen, because we were waiting for it to hit a certain mark so we could hopefully maybe get talk of Pacific Rim 2, because it wasn't doing that well in the States.
Right.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that, you have something like Transformers, that franchise. It's actually domestically going down.
Right.
But internationally, it's going up. So, of course, they're going to re-up those movies.
The last Transformers 4 was awful, and it crushed in China. It crushed overseas.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
A few people are asking this one. It comes from Tyler Scott, and people are asking, why isn't The Force Awakens being shown more in 2D IMAX? I feel like a lot of people would rather see it in 2D.
Again, money. They want to upcharge for the 3D.
$26 to go see a movie with IMAX and 3D. I think that's even like the base price.
Yeah.
There's so much money that goes into those 3D IMAXs. That's why Jurassic World did so well, because everybody went to see it in 3D IMAX. Shot that box office straight through the roof.
David, any other thoughts on
Yeah,
that?
I mean, I never really care either way, especially out here in LA.
I'm a 2D
Tickets are
guy.
expensive or enough. Yeah, I like went to The Martian. AMC Prime, surprisingly, wasn't in 3D.
Yeah, the new AMC Prime they chose not to do 3D.
I like
the
that.
old Prime did, but this one does not.
I like
Which
that.
means when me and John and Wendy and Ann and who else is going with Schnapp are going to go see Star Wars: Force Awakens in AMC Prime.
See, I'm going IMAX, so I'm going to see it in 3D. I guess.
Okay.
So.
I'm a 2D guy, so 3D is very it's just busy for me. It kind of takes away a little bit, but that doesn't mean that I'll probably go see it.
But it depends on the film. Like if it's Avatar, or I like the Prometheus, I thought looked really good in 3D too. If the director's shooting in 3D specifically has in mind for 3D shots, then I'm all for it. But if it's just
Which I don't think Force Awakens.
No.
It was shot on film and they
Right.
didn't shoot it in
Right.
3D. All right, one more.
Zachary Sean writes, do filmmakers really need to be familiar with or fans of a particular property to make a good movie out of it?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think it could help. The one thing is they don't have to be a fan, but I think they should do their research. They should, like, if you're going to take let's say you didn't read Batman as a child, but now you've been hired on to be Batman. You probably should go read some of the stuff that, at least the standard stuff, like Dark Knight Returns, Year One, the Killing Joke, that type of stuff, to get yourself familiar with the property, immerse yourself in it, and then go from there. But you don't have to be like a diehard fan.
I was listening to Aaron Sorkin yesterday on KSPN on 710 here in LA, and he was saying that because he wrote Steve Jobs, that book by the end of the movie was just in tatters because he was constantly using it as source material. Now that doesn't mean that somebody's gonna walk on a set for Batman and have a stack of comic books this high and be like, I read them all, this is what we're doing. But like you said, there's something to be said about respect for the property before, not just to go out and be like, oh, Batman's going to be pink.
But I mean, it doesn't mean if you're a diehard fan, you're going to make a good movie
No,
or anything
right,
like
true.
that. But
Yeah.
I think you should at least investigate.
I mean, Nolan. The only issue I had with the Batman trilogy that Nolan did, which I thought was incredible, I love the first two, especially Begins and Dark Knight, is that it never felt like a Batman comic book to me. This new trailer this new movie that Snyder's doing feels like a Batman comic book. Nolan did a wonderful job with the films, but I just didn't feel like like I was reading something off the pages. It felt like it was Nolan's interpretation of Frank Miller, because he said that was the one guy like he kind of used some stuff from, but it wasn't like Sorkin at the end where he was taking as reference material page to page. He was doing his thing.
Do you think that the first two Nolan Batmans are more cartoonish than the first two Keaton Batmans? Or
Cartoonish? No.
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 Yeah.
I mean, the Keaton ones
Not
were,
cartoonish. I mean, more comic book esque.
I think Tim Burton's are more comic book esque for me.
Yeah, more. I think so. I think I think Nolan's take was to try and make it realistic, try and make it believable, like someone would actually go and do this.
Okay.
So, all right, guys, that's it for today's episode. I want to thank the people joining me at the table. Josh, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Josh Macuga, and here on Collider on the Arrow recap show, the Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. recap show, and the Walking Dead recap.
Man, you're on a lot of shows now.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, David.
You can find me on Twitter at GriffinDE and every Tuesday on the Flash recap show.
And Ashley, where can people find you?
On this show, Twitter, Instagram at Ashley Mova. Happy Friday, guys! Not used to be here. I never come here on Fridays. It's a little bit confusing.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, on Instagram, Dennis.tzng. And I want to say, hey, check out my latest sketch video that actually stars me, John Campea, and Mark Ellis. We did a sketch video about our Star Wars fanboys reactions. Check that out on my channel, Think Hero Pro. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, youtube.com/Collider Videos. Also, don't forget to check out our friends at AMC Theaters, www.amctheaters.com for your showtimes and ticket information. And we will see you guys next week.
Up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help you stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Collider. Hey guys, if you like this video, click the thumbs up button.